Yeah.
Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Timothy Olson after the 2013 the North Face Ultra Trail to Mont-Blanc, where Timmy finished fourth. Nice work, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a hard-fought fourth place.
Yeah, a little different than Western States out there, eh?
Yeah, but just a tiny bit. Yeah, Western States definitely felt a lot flatter than this, and yeah, and just I had a difficult one out there. Yes.
What was difficult? I mean, aside from the mountains and but what was hard for you this time?
My body just didn't respond very well yesterday. I tweaked my ankle the week before, and I think that led to compensation on the other side, and my calf just it was strained, 50K into the race, and I couldn't climb at all, which was, that's the thing I look forward to in races, and I'm just hiking up every climb, and I just couldn't push off at all on the calf, and I was, debating for a very long time, many hours of should I stop or not, and then it just mentally, emotionally really I took a beating yesterday. I was broken numerous times out there where, I've never had a race where I was just really just crushed, and but I kept telling myself after I kind of decided that I wasn't quitting that it makes it that much better. When you're just totally demoralized, it's that's your chance to overcome that, and what a better feeling to finish. And so that was I wasn't really worrying about the time. I was just let's finish this race off and go see the family. So.
You seem to do pretty well dealing with darkness. At Western States, I think you talked about how you really like getting to the physical point of totally being just laying it all out there and digging into the well even deeper when you're just flat out. And here on the emotional side as well, how do you, overcome those dark moments?
Yeah, I think Western States was more taking your body to this extreme, because it's just that much faster and you don't go through the night. This one was just really mentally draining on me, and that was really hard to overcome. And I spent a lot of the time kind of talking myself out of just wanting to sit down and cry for a while. So that was a hard, I had some conversations with some nice cows out there. That was they're looking at me really what are you doing? And I agreed with them.
You weren't sure.
I didn't know what I was doing out there. It was just a really long time. Going through the whole night was interesting, going over those passes where it was really foggy, and my head was foggy, so I was just in this, just in a totally different world. And then you go to an aid station, and it was, you have the language barriers, so that's, you just want to keep moving, and that's all I could really think of doing. As I kept going through, it was slow, but just I just need to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and eventually it would be done for that run.
It appeared at some point you went from survival mode back into race mode, beast mode, as it were. I think coming to Valencin, you were literally I don't know if it was not grunting might not be the right word. There were some
growls and I don't know, lots of random noises come out. I could run downhill, and I was taking that to my advantage because it was the only time I could ever pick up any time. And I'm paying for it now. My quads are really good at hurt, but it's finally to that moment where I got past all the emotional stuff that I was going on inside, and I was finally able to go into that primal, more beast mode, which I love to do in the hundreds, and that felt good to finally be gaining on people a little bit, and finally feeling a little bit more myself when I race. I just wasn't feeling a normal, my normal, just really animal, really trying to go after the course, and just because I was limited in my motions throughout the day, and that felt great because I was gaining on people. The sunrise came out, and that's just an awesome time. I mean, it was glowing. The mountains to the side were glowing, and that was really awesome to see, and that motivated me. And then I started to see my crew a few more times, and that's always just motivational, just to get to the next spot where there was times in the later stages through the night where I was getting to the next aid station, but I was out of gels and there was none at the aid stations besides like, bread and meat and cheese, and I just wasn't feeling like a sandwich in the middle of the night, and so I was just working through a lot there. So as I got into the later stages of the race and got to see my family and encouragement from them, and knew that like even if it'd be a struggle, but I was going to finish the race, like that felt good, that I was like, okay, just keep getting to the next spot and then go from there.
So metaphorically and literally, the sun came up, darkness went.
Yes, yeah. And I look forward to that in races, like I like going to those dark spots and like overcoming it, and it's, in ultras you think you've hit your lowest low like the last race or something like that, but ultras just keep surprising me of how how dark it can really get, and try to overcome it, which is a good feeling when you do finish.
Speaking literally of the darkness, correct me if I'm wrong, but this was the first time you ran at sundown and then still running when the sun came up the next morning?
Oh no, Run Rabbit Run.
You're right. Okay,
year.
Sorry.
And I've done some good training runs to kind of do that, but this year I didn't do enough night running. I think that would have helped a little bit. And
in what way?
Just being comfortable out there. I mean, I always enjoy the dark because you just have your headlamp and you're just like, all you can see is that next step. You can't see the big mountain that's in front of you.
Which is really nice.
Yeah, which is nice. But for me too, it's just that I don't do a lot of caffeine, so the sleep deprivation and trying to figure out what caffeine I can use to help my make my stomach be okay. It's like, you go through the night and then you're pounding caffeine and then you have to add more gels. It's just a very bad combination. So that was, but it was fun. I got enough caffeine in me that I was able to stay alert and awake, and I made it through.
I think Krista searched all of France for some kombucha.
Yeah, I had some kombucha green tea, which was it was actually delicious. I've never had that in a race, and I really enjoyed it. I was burping it up later, but
there are worse flavors, probably.
Yeah, I like kombucha.
When you went into the sort of the beast mode later on in the race, I mean, what are you thinking when that's going on? Are you aiming to, like, even if you're an hour back, are you thinking, I'm going to win this thing? Or are you just in that, focusing 3 meters ahead and getting there as fast as you can?
Yeah, I think when I get into that mode, it's just very, present in that moment, and try not to worry about anything else going around me, just really pushing it really hard right there, and that's my favorite part of racing. And and then I was able to finally get to that stage, and then people giving me the information that I was closer to people than I thought, and so that sparks a little bit of like, okay, I can go and gain on them a little bit. And there's I wanted to. I didn't have the race that I exactly wanted, but I was really happy to finish strong. It's like, that's what I came here for, was to have a satisfying run in the mountains. And the thing about hundreds is they never go as expected, and that's what makes them so great, because you don't know what's going to happen. And just enjoying a satisfying run in the mountains and the Alps, I'm very grateful for that.
You and Mike Foote finished very close together. Did you guys get to spend some time together on the trail, work together, anything like that?
We did. We pulled each other back and forth for quite a while. I think Champ-Lac, I was just feeling miserable, and then he came in right behind me, and I didn't know who was behind me, and I was really happy that it was Mike. He's a teammate on the North Face with me, and just a good buddy and good guy, and so we got to chat a little bit, and it was a little bit later on when he caught me on some climbs, and it was funny because I was doing well on the descents and he was doing well on the uphill, so we were just go back and forth, and he got ahead of me for a little bit, and he's hollering at me to let's keep going, and then I get going a little bit on the downhill. I'm like, come on, Mike. So we worked really well, and it was really nice to have conversation for even a little bit. It's not like you talk much, but just knowing someone, talking to him a little bit, felt wonderful, and we knew we were going to finish close to each other, and and just spark each other on. So that was a really fun time.
Normally people give a lot of lip service almost to going out slow and being in control early on, but you and the rest of the Americans did one heck of a job of not doing a track race down to Les Ouches.
I think we came in with that mindset. I think all of us, like I watched some of the interviews, and all of us were like, yeah, we're going to try to take it easy, not really concerned with what place we were.
Did anybody actually say anything when you were doing that stretch?
Doing that stretch? No.
Between the Americans?
No, not at all. Yeah, I wasn't even running with many Americans. I was with Vajan Armstrong from New Zealand for a little while, and we had a kind of funny section was, getting into Saint Gervais. We, before that, on the first climb, 3 goats joined us for the run. So they were running with like Vajan and Miguel Haras. We were all running together, and 3 goats ran over 30 minutes with us. And
so you had like your spirit animals out there.
Yeah, basically, their little bellies were waddling all over the place, but they were hilarious. And I've never ran that long with a goat, and they were crossing the little bridges, and then there was a couple times where they stopped because they were huffing and puffing. They were like working hard, and then they ran after us again, would pass us on this single track trail. So like we'd be running, and then all of a sudden a goat would jump in front of us, and so we were just playing back and forth with these goats for a good half an hour.
That's incredible.
Yeah, entertaining.
A lot of people are happy to see their crews at aid stations, but more than I think almost anyone else I see, like you stop and take the time to give Krista a kiss, or pick up Tristan. Like, how important is that to you in a race?
Yeah, they're huge inspirations to me, and it's what I think about a lot when I'm running, because sometimes you're worried about the finish. There's so many things to worry about, and I really like to just kind of keep them in my mind, and they're both really cute, so it's kind of it's so like good positive thoughts to think about. And yesterday was really special too, just because actually yesterday was me and Krista's 5th year anniversary, and you have an amazing wife when she spends her 5th year anniversary where I should be taking her out for a nice meal, but she followed me around the mountain, sleep deprived, taking care of Tristan, taking care of me. So you're very just blessed with Krista, Tristan, my family that supports me, and and that's what pushes me along a lot of times too. So it was great, and it was really nice towards the end getting to see them more, because Tristan was up, so I got to see his smiling face, and that pushes me forward.
Do you think you'll have Krista out here crewing for you again next year?
Yeah, definitely. I as much as I can that we can afford, I love having them with me at races.
And would be UTMB one of them next year?
Possibly. I'm not sure exactly what I'll end up doing next year. There's so many races out there, and I wanted to do Run Rabbit Run too. I think I'm gonna have to pull back and not do that. I'm good and broken now, but I love Fred and like supporting races like that support the athletes, and so we'll see what I do next year, but I really have something to come back here. I want to run this race again and hopefully have a better effort, and I hope to spend a lot more time in Europe next year as I run, because there's lots of really cool races out here, good community of people, and I mean that was another huge point of yesterday, was just you run through 3 countries, you get to meet so many people along the trail, all the volunteers, all the people cheering. It was such a good experience. Even though I suffered a lot, it was the people here are great, and so I hope to be back again and do that.
Was the race everything that you expected?
Yeah,
I mean not your race, but the Ultra Trail de Mont-Blanc.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to do the recon beforehand to see some of the views, because the bummer for yesterday was like the most beautiful part of the trail was in the dark, and there's these big mountains off there and you can't see them, and then eventually the lights come on, but it's on the back side of the course, and it's just a short section, and the views around here are just spectacular. So I kept those in my mind as I was running, and this is just a really cool place to come, and I hope to come back again next year or soon, just to come and run the course, stay in the refugios, and it's just such a great place for holiday, or just to live here and to be able to use these trails. It's great.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on a great run, Timothy.
Yeah, and thank you. Thanks for being out here. You did an amazing job.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, right on.
And one quick semi-serious bonus question for you, Timothy. Is it correct to say that you have a pretty low carbohydrate diet normally?
Yeah.
But in races, you do switch over to
carbs. Yeah. I use gels exclusively for the race, so it's kind of my preparation beforehand is a pretty low carb diet, and that's basically just because I'm gluten free and I don't do grains really.
Because you have some issues with
it messes with my stomach, and just over time kind of figuring out what works best for me, I basically went grain free and more paleo type of diet, and it works really well for me for racing just because I don't really use all that, and then when I come to a race, I use it really strategically. That it's like when I have a gel, and I don't do them as much. So when people are using, 5 gels or whatever, 3 gels an hour or something, I'm only using like 1. So I'm putting less stuff in there. I'm able to use it, but then my stomach doesn't get tired of it as quick. And for the 100-mile distance too, you're burning fat so much because you're going at a slower pace. So it works well. Yeah. Continue using that for now.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.